Have you ever been in a grocery store, just staring at a package and feeling like you need a secret decoder ring to figure it all out? All those symbols, all those claims, they're trying to tell you something. Well, today we're going to crack that code. So let's take a look at this. On the surface, it's just a bag of dried herbs, right? But look closer. It's actually covered in promises. Every logo, every seal is the brand making a pledge to you, the customer. So, what are they all trying to tell us? Let's dive in and find out. So, why do these labels even exist in the first place? Well, think about it. The grocery store shelves are packed. So, these labels are a brand's way of yelling, hey, pick me. They're designed to communicate value and hopefully earn your trust. And our job, right now, is to take that promise apart, piece by piece, and see what's really inside. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're just trying to buy some spices, and you're hit with this wall of options. Every package is just screaming at you organic, natural, gluten-free. Honestly, it can feel a little overwhelming. And that's kind of the point. But don't worry. By the time we're done here, you're going to have the tools to slice right through all that noise. Okay, so where do we even begin? Let's start with the things that look the most official. You know, all those certified seals? These aren't just for decoration. They mean there are specific, verifiable standards behind them, a lot of times backed by the government. First up is the big one, the USDA Organic Seal. If you're in the US, this is pretty much the gold standard. It's one of the most strictly regulated labels you'll find on a food package. Seeing this green and white circle isn't just a suggestion, it's a guarantee. And here's the key thing to remember. A company can't just, slap the word organic on their package. Nope. This seal means they've gone through a whole formal certification process with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. That means they met these really strict government standards at every single step, from the farm to the processing plant, all the way to this bag. And trust me, it's a super tough and expensive process for a brand to get this little green circle. Okay, so what are we actually talking about with these standards? What's the guarantee? Well, for starters, it means the food was grown without any of those synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. It also means no GMOs, no genetically modified organisms. If we're talking about animal products, it means they followed specific rules for animal welfare. And maybe most important, they're getting checked up on all the time with regular government inspections. It's the whole shebang, really. Okay, moving on. Look right next to that organic seal. You'll probably see this one too, the non-GMO label. And right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute. Didn't you just say that organic means no GMOs? And yeah, you're absolutely right. But since so many shoppers are specifically looking to avoid GMOs, a lot of brands will add this extra seal just to make it crystal clear. So, just to be clear, a GMO, or genetically modified organism, is basically any living thing whose DNA has been tinkered with in a lab. This seal, which usually comes from a third-party group like the Non-GMO Project, is another verification. It proves the product went through a whole separate, tough process just to make sure it's free from any of those genetically engineered ingredients. All right, next up we have this seal, 100% gluten-free. And look, for millions of people out there with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, this isn't just some lifestyle choice. This label is absolutely critical for their health. And you should know, this isn't just a company making a casual claim. Gluten-free is actually a term regulated by the FDA. To earn this label, a product has to have less than 20 parts per million of gluten. And that's not some random number, it's the scientific amount that's considered safe for people with celiac disease. And last but not least, in our little group of official-looking seals, we've got the vegan symbol. This one's pretty straightforward. It certifies that the product has absolutely no animal ingredients or byproducts in it. We're talking no meat, no dairy, but also no honey or even certain additives that come from animals. It's a super clear sign for anyone making choices based on their diet or their ethics. Okay, so we've just covered the heavy hitters, right? The seals that are backed up by serious regulations and independent checks. But our package has other things written on it. And this, my friends, is where things start to get a little fuzzy. I mean, think about it. You see the word natural and you just immediately think, good for me, right? It feels healthy, wholesome, like it came from a farm and not a factory. But the real question we have to ask is, does that word actually mean something in the same way those official seals do? And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got your regulated seals, USDA Organic, Non-GMO Project, certified gluten-free. These have clear, strict, enforceable definitions. And then you've got the other side, the marketing terms, words like natural, pure or preservatives-free. They sound fantastic, but they often don't have a single legal definition that everyone has to follow. And if you remember one thing from this section, make it this. The FDA itself says the term natural hasn't been defined, which leaves it wide open to interpretation. Yeah, the FDA has this kind of loose policy that natural should mean nothing artificial was added, but the term isn't formally defined or regulated. This creates this huge gray area that companies can drive a truck through. So what does that mean? It means it's a marketing word, plain and simple. It's not a certification. Okay, so we've taken this package apart and looked at all the pieces. So what? How do we actually use this stuff? Let's turn all this knowledge into a simple game plan for your next trip to the grocery store. It really boils down to this simple 3-step plan for smarter shopping. First off, figure out your own priorities. What's actually most important to you? Is it being organic? Is it avoiding a specific ingredient? You decide. Second, look for those official seals. You want to trust the third-party certifications way more than you trust some vague marketing words. And finally, number 3, question everything else. Be skeptical. When you see a word like pure or natural, just stop and ask yourself one simple question. Says who? You know, at the end of the day, it's really all about this. Your knowledge is your power. Just understanding what these labels mean, and maybe more importantly, what they don't mean, is what gives you control. It's what lets you decide which promises are legit and which products really line up with what you believe in. Think about it like this. Every single product on that shelf is trying to tell you a story. And now you know how to read that story. You know how to see past the marketing. So the only question left is, which story are you going to choose to buy? Thanks for watching.